The Houston Texans are in the playoffs. Three-peat, 3 years in a row.
A straight, baby. A straight.
There you go.
Hey, two teams to start off 0-3 and make the playoffs. The Houston Texans and the Houston Texans. Hey,
Hey, it feels good being the back-to-back Kings on that, right?
it does. Hey, all we got left is division, though. We got to take the division.
That's right. We're the biggest Colts fans this week, which
Okay.
sounds we're biggest Colts fans this week, and then we're about to beat up on the Colts the next week. So, which I mean, the Colts are done, so that begs the question: are they going to start sitting people? If anybody's injured or banged up, you're just playing for pride at this point. So,
Yeah. I'm assuming Phillip Rivers probably still plays, though. So we'll
yeah,
see. Probably try to give them a run for his money just because he's at that age where he's still trying to prove something, but he's not trying to prove something.
who's
Like,
their who's their other Riley Leonard? Is that their
yeah,
QB they
Riley
drafted?
Leonard.
I would play Riley Leonard at this point. Like if you're a team that's out of the playoffs, see what you got in the kid.
Yeah, give him a shot
Um,
to see the worst that could happen.
but enough about the Colts. We'll talk about them in just a little bit. Uh, heck of a game. The Texans go up 14-0 within
Two drives.
7 minutes, two drives, two deep bombs to Jaden Higgins, who was wide open, and I
It
couldn't
was
tell.
one Higgins, one Noel.
Oh no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Jaden.
one
First
Higgins.
one was Jaden Higgins, and the second one was Noel. I couldn't tell. I have to go back and watch it. Were they busted coverages, or like the
It,
safety didn't travel? Like that was
it,
super weird.
it wasn't a busted coverage. It was just a one-on-one, and he just got straight beat on the deep ball. And it wasn't even anything close. It was, he goes, I think it's like a post route. He cuts him on a
Yeah,
post route and he just follows him, but he's just the way he gets, because he led him to the ball. He had like 10 yards of separation when he caught the
I was
ball.
gonna say I didn't see anybody within 5 yards once he caught the ball, and it wasn't even a foot race. It was like you saw the first one, the safety as soon as he caught the ball, the safety was like nothing you can do at that point.
And then second one, it was a little closer, but it was still just getting beat on the deep ball. And I think what it was they were so focused on, hey, let's contain Nico. Let's contain Nico. Let's contain Nico. And then you have your two guys who, they're just, I mean, not necessarily the fastest guys, but efficient route runners who can get open.
Absolutely. And that, I think that there's good and bad.
It
No,
should
go
have
ahead.
set a tone, but it didn't set a tone.
It was interesting because it was 14-0, and the defense was doing their thing. Shut down, sack, and you're like, it's gonna be a blowout. And we'll keep it positive right now. We'll get into the negative in just a little bit, but I think they found a recipe for the playoffs. You got other receivers that are capable, bro. Call that stuff up more often. And I know we got a little frustrated because I was like, bro, keep calling that. And then they took some deep shots. But man, Madden that stuff, spam it, use it till they stop it.
Use it, yeah, because that was my whole concern. Is like you go play action, or you go run, deep ball, first drive, second drive, run, deep ball. If you haven't stopped it back-to-back times, why not do it a third?
Exactly. And what a difference Woody Marks makes. What
Oh,
a difference in the run game. And that's crazy because both starting offensive tackles, you have backups in. And Woody Marks is just that guy.
yeah.
I'm hoping Woody Marks. Running backs are weird. Like they have such a short shelf life unless you're just truly like an elite top five, like truly top five. I'm hoping this lasts a while because Woody Marks is good.
I see a
You
lot
get
of
in
coming out of him.
absolutely. I would say draft, but man, you could find there's running backs always in the open market. So you get another good 1-2 punch with Woody Marks and somebody else. That's a nasty combo for years to come. But yeah, I thought the offense, once again, kind of tale of two halves. The first half, I mean, the first quarter, the Texans were rolling, and then you saw them going into the second quarter. They start to slow down a little bit. They got away from what worked. I missed, I think, the second and most of the third quarter, and I got back into it in the fourth quarter. Man, the defense is elite.
Yeah, yeah.
Defense is nasty. They had Herbert uncomfortable. They were sacking Herbert, breaking up passes. Omari and Hampton, you were seeing him about to bust a run, and then someone would just swoop in at the last second, which he would get, 2 or 3, looked like it was going to go about 30 because he had open field, but someone would come in and tackle. So great tackling, great gap filling, run stopping, all that good stuff.
Run defense looked absolutely immaculate. Like just
Absolutely.
in all phases, it was just immaculate. And
Absolutely.
I think one thing with the defense, and I mean, it's not a bad thing. It makes sense as to why they did it. The second Kamari Lassiter goes down, you start taking those shots. Quentin Johnston, they took maybe 4 or 5 deep shots to him, just like, hey, airmail. We're gonna send it and see if it sticks. Kamari Lassiter comes back and you continue to do the same thing. It's like, okay, well, he just came back from an injury. Let's see how injured he really is. Deep shot, deep. They were just taking them, just throwing them out there. And you get the one big 60-yard bomb, which is on what, number 11? I don't even know his name, to be honest. I just saw him out there just getting burnt by Quentin Johnston. But he goes, he makes that touchdown saving tackle, which ends up leading. I think that led to the missed field goal.
Oh, you're talking about after right before that was right before the third quarter, or like at the end of the third quarter?
I believe so. It was
Yeah,
one, it
yeah.
was a deep ball. They got up into the red zone, and I don't think they scored on that possession. So it was one of those like, okay, like you still made it out. You still found a way. They were just clawing and scratching. Defense was fighting. And I mean, you were getting, I don't want to be that guy, but you're getting some questionable calls that are putting you in these first downs, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down. You're just pushing up the field, finding a way. So it's like defense did everything that they needed to do. They were just, Chargers were getting a little bit of help.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you saw the defense, and this has been kind of my concern, and it's still my concern going into the playoffs, is the offense is really, it's still a tale of two halves. You have one half where the offense is just steamrolling, moving up and down the field, scoring. And what I said, they had to score touchdowns, not field goals. And they started scoring field goals, but I'll take points.
Yeah.
But man, they got shut down a lot. I wouldn't say a lot. They got shut down a few times. The problem, CJ Stroud was 2 costly picks in Houston territory. That
Yep.
is a big no-no. That's going to lose you games in the playoffs because there's going to be better teams that are going to take advantage of that. Now, I say there's better teams. There's just not that juggernaut team in the AFC or in the NFC, but you're going to run into a game where someone's going to capitalize.
Yep. And the thing about those 2 interceptions too is those were the first 2 times that the Chargers even make it into Houston territory. So it's like you're not getting a punt and driving the ball up the field in the Houston territory. You're getting
Yep.
handed the ball right there off of 2 costly interceptions.
Right.
Aside from and I think only one of them led. I think one of them led to an interception following Justin Herbert threw an interception right after that.
Yeah.
And then another one leads to either a touchdown or a field goal. I'm not.
It was a field goal because it was 14-3 at that point. I think one of the picks led to a field goal, which was 14-3. But you eliminate those and you don't give them easy points, it's a different game. Like it's not close. And that's been kind of the theme in this. Now, granted, we're on an 8-game win streak. Don't want to take anything away from that. You've clinched a playoff spot. You're still vying for the division. Man, but we're getting into crunch time. You're seeing patterns. You're seeing things that are still, they don't give you the warm and fuzzies going into the playoffs.
Yeah, there are things that a team would look at and be like, this is something that they are consistently known for doing. So let's capitalize on that and let's find a way to make sure that they don't either consistently keep doing this, or we can find a way to take that and make it into something that will benefit us.
Absolutely. Here's what I will say though. The Texans defense, I think they just swept all of the good quarterbacks in the AFC. All the established elite quarterbacks they have beaten. So check mark there. You can hold the elite quarterbacks, which gives your offense a chance and gives your team a chance. The offense is one of those, like, you see the potential. Now you saw 2 other receivers besides Nico Collins have breakout games and be able to contribute and put up points. You're like, it's there. The recipe is there. you got to capitalize on that. Now I was super stoked. They were up 17-10. They go down, they kick a field goal, they do what they need to do. Um, the Chargers, I think the one concerning part for the defense, the Chargers, their last possession drove right down the field, scored a touchdown with 3 minutes left. And so you're like, you know, you get to those bend not break, and the defense broke a little bit. You're going to have those, but that's why it's important to put up points when you can and give yourself a 2-score lead. Unfortunately, they missed the extra point.
which made
Um,
it to a touchdown game now.
right. So
It's
now,
a lot more pressure when if you get that ball back, which they didn't, thankfully. But if you get the ball back, now you're at a lot more pressure because you're not going for the field goal spot. You're
right,
going for the end zone.
right. So that gave me more hope that the Texans would take care of business because I have all the faith in the world in the defense. Now
Yeah.
the offense got it done. They were given a little bit of help. What was your thoughts on that call?
I mean, to be fair, if you look at some of the calls that the Chargers got, it's one of those, hey man, it's not fair calls, but it's like,
We
you,
gave them one. We'll give you
yeah,
one.
y'all got more than one. We only got one, but that
Yeah,
one made a big difference.
absolutely. It's nice being on the receiving end, but there's a little bit of like we got the dub, and the dub is a dub, but you got away with one a little bit. And I
Oh
hate it when referees dictate the game.
yeah,
Whether it's my team or it's someone else's team, it drives me nuts because you just want to see teams clutch up and take care of business and not have to have help from the referees.
oh yeah. And but I
Um,
will say another very big pivotal moment in the game is the Dalton Schultz unnecessary roughness call because essentially that goes from a first down. You have momentum, you're driving up the field, then that puts you at a third down and 17. But in his defense, he was hit first. But like I say, the referees never catch the first hit. They only
right,
catch the retaliation hit. The
right,
retaliation hit will always get called for the flag, which is
yeah,
which I think there should be some point where the NFL has to look into like, hey man, I don't know how to word it, going into, looking into penalties and seeing like, hey, was this caused by somebody retaliating against somebody? Because it's like if you have something where you can look at that and you can be like, hey, he got hit first, you missed that call, but you gave him that call. If there's a way to negate that, now the Texans add 15 yards to the end of that play and it sets them up in a different, it's a whole different ball game at that
mm, yeah. No, that's fair enough. That's a good point. Um,
because essentially too that's the difference between being up 21 to nothing versus 14 to nothing. Now you're punting the ball.
yeah. And then Woody Marks, he comes in, gets 8 yards, and then
Oh
gets the first down and has a ball game at that point.
yeah,
So,
at 8
um,
yards right there takes you to the 2-minute warning. Then it's like, hey, all you have to do is 2nd and 2. You're at the 2-minute warning, go get 2 yards. You got 2 plays
three,
to get 2 yards,
yeah,
3 plays to get 2 yards.
yeah, and you get the 2 clock in the process.
Yeah.
So, I liked that scenario. That scenario is hard for the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers got the sack, and then it was negated by the penalty. It would have made it interesting, and it still would have been on the right side of the ball bounced the right side of the way for the Texans because you would rather the defense be out there and have to get the stop than the
Yeah.
offense having to score points. Um, but all in all, it was a good game. Like I said, the Texans are in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
They now move to, I believe they moved to the 6th seed. So if they win out, then they don't capture the division. Worst case, they'll be the 6th seed. Best case, there's the potential to either one jump into the number 3 spot or even the number 5 spot. Philly has to play Buffalo. That's a game to watch. So Buffalo loses that game. The Texans are now in the 5th seed because they have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Bills. Um, all eyes. I mean, I'm watching that game, and as nice as that would be, all eyes are on the Colts Jaguars.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that the Colts have nothing to play for. So, it's in Indy. I mean, you're rooting for Indy, but the way they've been playing as of late, and you've seen the way the Jaguars have been playing, like it's essentially a done deal. Now you still have one more week. It's not like this week seals the division. Jacksonville now has to win this week, and they have to win out. If they lose one game, the tiebreaker goes to the Texans. So you have that going for you.
Yeah. And like I say, I would prefer to play first round home game.
Oh, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
It's super difficult to go on the road and play all road games and go to the Super Bowl. It's doable, but it's not doable. I don't think it's been done very often.
Doable, not feasible.
Yeah,
And
100%.
but like I say, I like where the Texans are at. I feel like, hot hand in the dice game. Best way to call it. Like you're rolling, everything is going in your favor right now. You're winning at home, you're winning away, you're winning close games. Like you're doing everything. Like I just saw the Texans are currently 6-5 in one score games. And you have 5 losses on the season. So it's like when it comes down to it, they know how to find, make it work now.
Of those 6 wins, how many of those have been in this 8-game win streak?
I believe
Has it been
either
all of them?
4 or 5. I'm not 1,000% sure.
I can go double check that real
I
quick.
think we ended up. I think there was one game where we had a
Mm.
little.
The first game. Oh, no, 2 games.
Yeah,
So
49ers. That was an 11-point win.
yeah, but that was before the win streak because
Oh
then
yeah,
we lost to the Broncos.
that's
So you
true.
had the Jaguars 36-29.
Oh, the Cardinals. It was
Yeah.
Cardinals and the Chiefs back-to-back weeks.
Mm,
Because you put up 10 and then you put up 20, or you win by 10 and win by 20 in those 2 games.
yeah. Outside of that, so 36, that's a close game. That's one score. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 of their so they're 6-5. They were 0-5, and now they're 6-0
Yeah.
in one score games. Look, it's a winning brand of football. As much as I like to say, like, oh, there's concerns on the offense, the way the defense is playing and getting stops when necessary, the offense scored enough points to give the defense cushion. You're up 20-10, which was a 2-possession game. I'm more than comfortable with that formula going into the playoffs, especially with the way this defense is playing.
Get up
Um,
early, hold them.
Absolutely. You get up early and you hold them, and then it's like, all right, cool. You give your defense a cushion. Where, I mean, you're just not going to see it because you play the Colts. But I would have liked to have seen hey, you're down and you got to have a score. That would have given you some confidence. But this is such a weird season. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's no team that scares you in the playoffs. As much as we talk about the Jaguars, it's Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Let's not act like he's not inconsistent. And he just hasn't done anything in the playoffs. He's got a couple playoff wins. That's about it. There's no pedigree there. There's no pedigree with anybody in the playoffs except for the Bills. And even the Bills are super up and down. So
Yes,
what is
this season. Like if you have last year's Bills or maybe 2 or 3 year ago Bills in this playoff format, then yes, like you're easily counting them as the favorites. But aside from that, I mean, they haven't, like I say, they haven't even looked as crispy as they've always looked this year. So it's really anybody's game. It's anybody's season. But who knows the possibility of, Josh Allen maybe turning it on in the playoffs? I mean, you have the possibility of it, but
if there's a quarterback that has the most pedigree, and that's kind of my word right now, it's Josh Allen.
yeah.
Josh Allen's the quarterback. I don't even want to say it, but he's the Mahomes in the playoffs. He doesn't have the hardware, but they're the team to beat. Now they just don't. They're not clutch. They haven't proven that they can win the whole thing because they haven't. They've had moments when, yeah, Josh Allen balls out, but somebody drops a crucial pass.
Yeah, because I was about to say it's not really. I'm gonna say it's not a Josh Allen problem. It's a Buffalo Bills problem because,
Mm.
and it's not to say. I mean, we can easily say Josh Allen kind of puts the team on his back. Like he's one of those guys. Hey, when it's time to make the play, he's gonna make the play.
Mm.
He's gonna make the throw. The question is the receiver gonna make the catch?
Right.
Is the defense gonna get the stop? Like it's never like Josh Allen. He goes against the Chiefs. drives the ball down, scores, 13 seconds left. All the defense has to do is not let the Chiefs get in the field goal range.
What did they do? In 13 seconds, they let them drive, what, 40 yards?
2 big plays. Boom, deep ball, field goal range, kick the field goal, send it to overtime.
There you go.
And you're 13 seconds away from a Super Bowl.
But guess what the Texans did Josh Allen this year?
Oh, sacked him.
Eight
Yeah.
sacks.
Yeah, career. 8 sacks. Had a couple, 2, 3 picks?
Yeah. I think
You
he had
had
3
two-
turnovers. He had 2 picks
Yeah.
and a fumble, I believe.
You had a decent amount of those, but the only thing, well, and then even in the defense, I mean, I don't even think the defense gave up a touchdown. You had a score on a
Kick
kickoff,
return.
kick return to the house, so that's not even on the defense. So, I mean, they did
I
everything they
think
needed to do.
there was 1 score, and there was a couple field goals, and then you had a kickoff return.
Yeah, because the kickoff return really gave all the momentum. That was,
But there was no point in which they were losing, and
yeah,
so that to me is the, like, after seeing the offense, and we're just not going to see a consistency in a full game. I think we just have to make our peace with that.
yeah, and
But
that's
here's no, go
another,
ahead.
another thing too that I've noticed is with the offense, like you'll get up. Like I don't think we've played. I couldn't tell you the last time we played from behind.
Oh yeah, there's been no game. Well, the Jaguars.
Well, yeah, that was probably the last one, and I mean we were down by a lot, but the offense found a way to claw, scratch, and come back. But then it was capped off. The last play of the game, defensive touchdown.
Yeah.
So like, hey, get us if we can get ahead. I got faith in the defense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I was saying. Like the formula moving forward is put up points early. You
Yeah,
give yourself 7 to 10 point lead. So at least they have to tie it and the offense doesn't have to play from behind. That's the recipe. I think that'll win you a Super Bowl. The defense is just that elite.
score fast, score often. Because even like the playing from behind, I haven't seen them play from behind that often to be like, okay, I have enough. But I'm like, in a tie game, I would even still, tie game off or the offense, the opposing offense has to drive down the field and score.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
still have faith in the defense. We'll find a way to get a stop, get us the ball. And I feel like our offense has enough experience of getting into field goal range to where it's like, I have enough faith that they can get into field goal range. And I have enough faith in Kyrie Fairbairn to be able to kick one.
Sure.
Like,
I agree with that.
give
It's
me,
one of those rare instances where being the front runner in game, it's going to pay off. That's the formula. That's what's going to be the success, success in the playoffs. You get, I keep saying like they're going to run into that game. They're going to run into that game. They might not run into that game. They might not. There's just not enough legitimate, and I don't want to call legitimate. There's not enough proven talent, not enough proven pedigree in the playoffs to tell me that like, oh, the Texans are going to get into that game in which the offense has to just go off.
yeah,
If the offense goes off, I mean, book it for a dub because this defense isn't going to give up more than 25 points. If they even give up 25 points, what is the average? I want to look at the average real quick.
I know the threshold is we've had a shutout and our high is 27 or
So
20.
minus the Jag in this 8-game win streak. We'll just go off of that. The highest they had one against, so the Jaguars, they gave up 29 points. But here's the point totals the defense has given up in the 8 games: 13, 19, 16, 10, 20, 21, 16. The highest being 21 points. If you can't score more than 21 points, you don't deserve to win.
Oh yeah.
So like your defense is giving you a shot. The defense is being elite. And that's with like you didn't have Aziz last week. You had guys that were out. And you're still holding teams on. If you were to average that out, yeah, 21 being the highest, but the lowest being 13. So 17 points.
Yep.
17. So the magic number for the offense is 20 points.
Oh yeah. Because even then, like with today, you have Kamari Lassiter go down, Derek Stingley goes down, Aziz goes down. People are going down. So like in those instances in the game, I mean, you saw, the Chargers try and take advantage of those, those moments. You lose Kamari Lassiter, and like the very next play, it's like instant deep ball. Like, so they're trying. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we can't stop them. Like I think they probably threw to Derek Stingley twice.
Yeah,
One,
so he's just taking away a complete half of the field is just
yeah,
gone.
like Lad McConkey, I think he had 1 to 2 catches. Like he was such a non-factor. It was like Quentin Johnston was getting all of the plays, and that was while Kamari Lassiter is in the locker room getting checked out. So
Yeah. And that's one of the keys of one of the things we talked about was, all right, cool, take away Lad McConkey. You mentioned Keenan Allen, non-factor.
yep,
So then all you have is what's his name?
Johnston.
Quentin Johnston.
That
I
was
was
it.
like, okay, he's what, number 3 wide receiver? I can live with giving up catches to the number 3 wide receiver.
Yep.
You take away the first 2 options, they have their tight ends are okay. They're, nothing to write home about, but
Because even then, on the one touchdown play to the one tight end, I think the dude number 86, he was the one who tipped the ball up where Aziz, got the pick. It's on like a play action rollout, and he's pulling like a fake block, and then he just, right into an open zone where it was just nobody there because they were expecting the run.
right.
So it was, I don't want to say it was kind of a busted coverage. So it was like nobody accounted for him. Nobody went with him. He was just wide open. But it's like, aside from that, and you're already on the 1 yard line. That's after 2 penalties and you move up and all of that. Like, so it took everything, for them to finally get to that point to even get at the 1. So it's like, I mean, at that point, the likeliness of you giving up a touchdown on the 1 is very high.
Slim. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's high. I was gonna say slim, but I meant high.
Well, it's slim if you're the Texans, because
Right, right.
you get to
Um,
the 1 yard line twice in the same game and you don't score at all. It's like, what are we doing?
I think there was one, and I think this was the touchdown drive that was late in the game in which it was 20 to 16. You have the Chargers backed up to it was the one. They almost gave up the safety. I believe Omarion Hampton catches the
Yeah,
ball, and because thank goodness for forward progress, he catches it like at the 1 inch
and
yard
then
or the
Henry
1 inch
gets
line,
him, yeah, and they're just like,
and he
oh
gets
no,
brought in.
puts him at the 1. It was actually a loss of a yard though, because I think they started that drive at the 2.
Yeah,
So it ends up being a loss of that. But then even like the Justin Herbert, oh my goodness. What they thought was a forward pass, but it's like foot is behind the line of scrimmage. It's some of those things. It's like that. Like, you get back-to-back plays, where you're getting pressure, you're getting in the dude's face, you're causing him to throw the ball away, and it's like 3rd and long, you give up the first down. They did
yeah,
that 2 or 3 times.
absolutely.
Like I say, the Texans defense is good for that. You're gonna give up a 3rd and long 2 or 3
Yeah,
times a game.
yeah, it happens, and you were just like, oh, that'd have been the perfect opportunity to get because they would have punted, and that probably would have started the Texans at probably about the 50-yard line.
Yep.
I'm an ACJ. I see you. I'm just waiting for your camera to come on, and then I'll let you in. But that, they just one of those what ifs. Like, hey, you get the stop, you get into the field goal, and I mean the game is put away at that point.
Yeah.
But the offense scored that last field goal was super crucial. I thought they did a good job. I know they didn't get a touchdown, but they milked the clock down to what 5 minutes,
And
five
you
six
burn it
minutes,
long enough to get a score to make it a two
two-score game.
yeah.
And at that point, your defense is just set up for success. So I'm gonna try adding ACJ. Let's see if his camera's ready. Oh, he's still loading. Take him off for a second, let him load in. He might be having computer troubles. But yeah, great play calling. I thought the sequence was good up until the last couple of plays. And really that last play, I'm not sure why it seemed like they called CJ Stroud for like a 7-step drop, but it was a 3rd and 5.
Yeah.
The one where he almost got sacked and let the ball go, and a little bit of a dangerous throw, kind of an
Man,
air.
so I saw the replay on that, right?
Mhm.
And I think one thing too is the Chargers did exactly what the Chiefs did. Second half, you're sending the blitz, 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 blitz. Because if you look at the play, Nico Collins is on the right side one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
If you call an audible, you get Nico Collins on a slant route, quick slant, like two-step slant, and he beats that dude inside. He has all like it's open. It's like a walk-in, and I was just like, I saw that, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
It's just one of those, like, the pressure. It wasn't just like, oh, he had, like, the pressure came quick. They
Yo,
sent the house.
because they
And
sent the
so you,
house. I think they
yeah,
had three guys drop back on man. Everybody like you sent eight.
yeah.
So
And it looked like they had a max. I think the Texans had max protect. It
yeah,
wasn't like it was just five and then a running back. It was like five plus a tight end on, I want to say one side. I don't know if it's a tight end, but I have to go back and watch it. I think there's a tight end on the other side.
yeah,
Um, he, yeah, so he like had no time to throw, but and he, this is those things I nitpick. I was like, sometimes you don't be cute. Call a 5 step in, a 5 yard in, a slant, a check down with the running back, just something to get positive yards and keep the clock
yeah,
churning. Because not only did the play not work out, you almost took a sack. Then you get an errant throw. You get a DB or a safety that plays the ball a little bit better. I mean, you don't get any points out of that, and it's a completely different ball game. So it's just little things like that where I was like, all right, Nick Haley, like let's not get cute.
yeah,
Stick with what worked. I understand, like, it worked in the beginning. The blitz is coming. You've got to be able to give CJ Stroud some sort of audible or be like, hey, they might send five, they might not. We need to get something 3 step drop, and the ball needs to come out.
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna show you that one later so you can see like Nico how it was. Because like I said, he was one-on-one. If he gets that in quick slant, two steps cut in, you have not only do you have the first down, but you have the potential to just
You run out the clock.
right in. Yep.
Yeah, you run out the clock, and then it
Get
gives
to the
you
one
also
and
the
just
potential.
down the ball, even if that.
Because they get the first down, and you're taking away at least 2 more minutes.
Oh yeah.
So then it drops to 3, and who knows if they score a touchdown, and then it's over at that point. But hey, still got the dub. You still got the more important thing. You still got points, and I think that's where the offense moving in the playoffs. The offense needs to be opportunistic and getting points when you can get them. Get
Yeah.
those quick scores. Get touchdowns when you can. But as long as you keep the lead and you're just hanging on, you're riding your defense to get that crucial stop. Uh, I like the Texans on in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Because like you say, score quick, try and score often. If you can, put up 3-4 touchdowns in 3 or 4 drives, but even if you can't find a way to burn some clock, move up the field and at least get a field goal.
Yep.
And
Yep.
stay off the interceptions. Stay off the intercept because you're
Yeah.
giving them the ball. You're giving them the opportunity, but like I say, the defense came in clutch big time.
Yeah.
You get a pick and 2 picks led to 3 points.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more clutch performance on the defensive side when it came to that. Because not only did you give up 2 picks, you gave up 2 picks on short fields.
Oh yeah,
Which should
within the 40, which should be 2 touchdowns.
with 2 touchdowns or at least 2 field goals. Even if your defense shuts them down, it's like, well, they're in field goal range unless you just get 2 sacks. So to have a missed field goal to generate another turnover and only give up 3 points off of those, that's huge. And yeah, you got to limit it's one thing to turn the ball over and it stinks when you give up points, but when you force the opposing team to drive the length of the field against this defense, I like those chances.
Oh yeah,
But you give up almost an automatic 3 points. Worst case scenario, that's problematic.
yep. Inside of that 50, you're already looking in the field goal range, getting
Yep.
up 2 or 3. 2 or 3 plays get you 10, 15 yards, and you're already in range.
Yeah, 100%. It looks like ACJ is having some internet issues. But hey, just for anybody watching or checking us out, this is the In Between podcast. We'll be talking all things Texans football. If you do like this podcast, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to put out content on a weekly basis and really keep you up to date, man. This season is super exciting. This is what makes Christmas better. Christmas is always fun, but what makes a good Christmas is when your team is in the hunt or in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're fighting. You're like, oh man. And the worst is when you're fighting for that playoff spot and it comes down to the last 2 to 3 weeks, you're just like, man, my
which
team
is
has to find a way to win, or somebody else's team has to find a way to lose.
right. And it's kind of weird for the Texans. I've just felt like this team they've been a playoff team for the last month. It's been that feel. Like I know they've just now locked in their playoff spot, but it's felt like they were a wild card team for the last month. It just felt that they played like it. They've obviously won. So it was super bizarre last week winning and being 10-5 and still not locking down a playoff spot. But seeing the trajectory of the Colts, super unfortunate, to go from 8-2, vying for the number one seed, and then just flat out imploding. And it's really unfortunate to see injuries, prayers for Daniel Jones' speedy recovery. But you can't feel good about that coaching staff.
Oh yeah, but hey, I told them Colts fans, man. Oh man, we're 8-2. I said, hey, that's okay, but don't celebrate yet. Don't drop the confetti until you got that X or that Y by your team's name. Because if you ain't got that X or that Y, you could be getting that E, and they got that E, eliminated from playoff contention.
That's crazy. That's
I love
crazy.
It. Hey, I mean, as you know, like you said, nobody likes to see injuries, but as a Texans fan, I like to see teams in my division not make the playoffs. I mean,
That's fair.
It's the nature of the game. Like it's injuries, and there's always those people. You're gonna have those people. Injuries are a part of the game. Like, yes, I understand it. It's still unfortunate. Nobody wants to see it happen, but yes, it happens. Like, would I like to have just beat up on the Colts, on a healthy Colts team and make the playoffs? Yes, absolutely, because that makes it that much better.
It's pedigree. That's where you get the pedigree. So then there's no excuses. Because now the Texans, as much as they've won, they still have lots to prove. Now they still have to prove a lot because let's be honest, they haven't gotten past the divisional round. You have to get past the divisional round. Like you have to. In this year of the playoffs, it would be absolutely disappointing to not get past the divisional round. A championship game is necessary. And the nice part you get this is where you want that 5 seed. Worst case, you want the 5 seed because you have the potential, if you get some upsets, which I think there'll be some upsets, you could be hosting a playoff game at home depending on how things go. There, you have as it stands, it's the Bills, Chargers, and the Texans are all the wild cards playoffs and wild card spots, and they're only a game out. The Chargers can't go for the division. I think that the Broncos locked the division up.
Just locked it up.
And the Bills are still vying for that division, so the Patriots could well be the wild card. But it's out. You have the Steelers or the Ravens. I don't believe in either of those teams. Those are going to be one and done. So whoever gets that, you want the 5th seed because you want to play that team. Are you scared of a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers? Are you scared of a Ravens team that's just
without
depleted?
Lamar?
Yeah, Lamar's got back contusions.
Yeah. So it's one of those, we don't even know how long he's out for. He might not even be back for the playoffs. And if he's not, if he's not back in 2 weeks, then that's a one and done Ravens team for sure.
Right. I'm going to invite ACJ, just kind of talk for a second. But yeah, you get, there's just no team. There's no team that scares you. And then there's no team that scares you. And there's no team like, sorry, I was trying to multitask there. There's going to be upsets. The wild card teams are just as good as the division winners.
Yeah. I'd say if there's any team that scares anybody, it's the Houston Texans based off of the defense alone.
Oh, absolutely.
It's one of those, nobody wants to go and play that. It's like, what's the best way to describe it? Because, everybody's like, oh man, like that offense, that offense might beat them. Like, I don't want to say nobody's scared of our offense, but I mean, nobody's scared of our offense. But our offense isn't the problem. Our offense has shown that we can score at least 20 points. And our defense has shown that we can hold you underneath 20 points. So if we can score 20 and we can hold you under 20, I don't know if people know how football works. Highest score wins. So 19-20, hey, that's a dub.
And let's not act, last week the Chargers put up 34 on the Cowboys.
Yeah,
So they're inconsistent. Um, their last 5 games, they put up 31 against the Raiders, 22 against the Eagles, 16 against the Chiefs, 34 against the Cowboys, and 16 against the Texans. I, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say the Texans shut down an elite offense. It's inconsistent, but
yeah,
Justin Herbert's a top. We just had this discussion. Justin Herbert's a top 7 quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback. He is borderline elite. He's not a bad quarterback.
yeah,
Been in the system for a while. Let's look at some of the other teams. Let's look at the Broncos' last 5 games and see what kind of point totals they've been putting up.
yeah. I have the point like complete top 5 point totals.
Go
So
for it.
well, this was entering week 17. So you had the
Okay.
Texans only allowing 249 points all season. The Seattle Seahawks with 279, the Philadelphia Eagles with 289, the Kansas City Chiefs with 294, and the Denver Broncos with 295. After this week, the Texans now have given up 265 points, which is still less than every other team, going into this week. So Seattle still has to play. The Eagles still have to play. Or no, did the Eagles already play? I think
No, they play the Bills.
so the Eagles still have to play. The Chiefs have already played, and then the Broncos still have to play.
Yeah.
No, the Broncos and the Chiefs played.
Yeah, they played on Christmas night, and the
Yeah,
Broncos beat them 20 to
but
13.
Seattle and Philly still have to play, and they're already past the 265 that the Texans have only allowed all season. So the Texans are the only team who have allowed under 270 points all season. You have 4 other teams who are at 270 between 270 and 290 and still have to play. So it's
Right.
like the Texans could very much be the only team at the end of this year to give up under 300 points.
That's
Maybe.
wild.
And that's
And you have to play the Colts.
yeah,
And that's if the Colts, that's with Philip Rivers. And
yeah,
you saw the Niners, Philip Rivers had his way for the first half. But let's be honest, the Niners shut him down in the second half. He had a few plays here and there, but once they figured they were shut down Jonathan Taylor, and then the Niners has no pass rush. And so you have the Texans going against Philip Rivers, who's the most immobile quarterback in the league because he's 44. Yeah, good luck with that.
yeah.
Good luck with that. That's going to end badly. It's 20-7 Ravens right now, by the way. Now the Packers have
But you have a Jordan Love-less Packers versus a Lamar Jackson-less Raiders. So it was just kind of like, man,
yeah, it's Malik Willis and
Tyler, is it Huntley?
Tyler Huntley.
Okay.
And I just had this discussion. It's so you knew yesterday, I think that they were both downgraded to out. Either yesterday or the day before that they were both probably not going to play. Flex the Texan game to the primetime slot. There
Yeah,
was no reason to have the Packers and the Ravens. We both knew that. I think everybody knew the Texans Chargers game was going to be the better game. Better quarterbacks, more healthy teams. Flex that as the primetime game. And
yeah,
this is, I'm a little irritated with the lack of respect for the Texans and a Super Bowl win or at least a deep playoff run. You add to that pedigree and you start getting more respect in more primetime games in these slots. And that's all it is. It's a legacy pick as to why you had the Packers Ravens in the primetime slot.
yeah. But even
Um,
like this year, I mean, we had a decent amount of primetime games. But it's one of those things where they put us in these primetime games against these already established teams in the hopes of, well, maybe, like the Chiefs, the Bills, teams that have made deep runs because it's like, well, we know these guys are solidified. We're just
right,
put them against the Texans and hopefully they do what they do. But
right.
we upset both of them.
Hey, just keep winning. You know what? Because as much as we rag on the offense being inconsistent, as much as we rag on, Nick Haley, winning cures all. We
No,
would be pissed if, you had a few losses and the Texans were not in playoff contention and they were winnable games because the defense did everything. So winning cures all. It,
absolutely.
you got to win in the playoffs. To get to the goal, the standard or my expectation is an AFC championship game. That is my standard. That's what I want to hold the Texans to. You have this year is super weird. It's open. There is no one team besides the Texans that people were like, oh, I don't want to play the Texans because they don't even want like the two things that travel are defense and the run game.
Oh
And
yeah.
if Woody Marks is healthy, this defense is going to travel. It doesn't matter where they play. Defense travels and the run game's consistent when Woody Marks plays. So nobody wants to play the Texans even at home. You're like, oh, shit, we have to play the Texans. Like, good luck with that because
Yeah.
they are shutting down everybody. It doesn't matter if you're elite or not.
Oh
You're
yeah.
getting shut down. But an AFC title game is that's the standard with this year, and I'll be disappointed if they don't make it that far.
I would like the title game to be Houston versus Denver and Houston upset.
You
Just
want to you want
because
it in Denver too, or you want it?
I
Oh,
just
it has to be in
want
Denver.
I want everybody to understand because like I said, we've been talking harping on Denver all season because Denver is that one team where it's just like, well, we beat the Texans, we beat the Texans, we beat the Texans. You scored 18 points and you played 3 quarters without CJ Stroud.
Mm.
Hey, y'all won on the books. Denver got the win. Yes, absolutely. We can't take away from the fact that that happened. It's a win in the books. That's all that matters. They found a way to win. But with the odds not in your favor and things not going, like that, CJ Stroud playing, that game's going to be different.
Here's what I would love. I think to put the cherry on top, I think that is good, and I'm going to expand on it. I think the Texans need to beat the 1 and 2 seed, and I hope the 1 and 2 seed is
Denver, and
Denver and New England,
yes.
and you take down, the wild card. You play whoever. I don't care who it is. Let's say the Steelers. That'd be a dub, man. I'm just gonna call it right now. That'd be a dub. You're the fifth seed. Let's say they don't take the division. You play the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Chalk that as a dub. Then you go to New England. Oh, Drake May is this, rookie quarterback vying for the MVP, and New England can't be stopped. All right, cool. Let's expose that weak schedule. Boom, take care of the New England. Then you go into Denver, AFC title game. Number one defense. They were better than they had a better defense statistically than the Texans in some categories, but the Texans had more categories when they were first.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's Denver fans are just living in delusion right now. And it's just one of those things where Texans need to come in and just beat them down just to show them, just so we can end all of the nonsense discourse because it's just a bunch of yapping from Denver fans and they think that they know what they're talking about. And it's just, we just have to come in and show them, like, hey, man, you played a healthy CJ Stroud. You played a healthy Texans team. You didn't win. All that talk about a week, 4 or 5, whatever week. I don't even know what week it was. A week 6 or 7 win. In the middle of the season, yeah, it was cool, but it's championship. It's championship conference football. Hey, all cards are on the table right now. What are you gonna do?
Absolutely. And you take care of business, and you take care of business like that. Now, I do think that there's NFC teams that are more complete. I think the Rams are a more complete team because of that offense and Matthew Stafford. I think I don't know about the Seahawks. I really don't. They're complete on paper. I just don't trust Sam Darnold.
Yeah, which
Um,
is fair. Which is fair.
you give him a shot, then it's like, all right, cool. You took care of business in the AFC, then you're in the Super Bowl. Anything can happen. There's no team that really is the juggernaut. It was the Rams, and the key word is it was. And a lot of people will be like, "Oh, the Rams are still this powerhouse." It's like, man, their defense is super sus.
Yeah, and they've given up a couple games.
They have given up a couple
Given up
games. You
a
let
couple games.
that Panthers game, as much as the defense gave up 31 points, Matthew Stafford pooped the bed in that game too. Let's not act like he was one of the main contributors to that. And then you have they had the game won against Seattle.
No,
That Thursday night game, that game was won. And you let up a punt return, and then you let Seattle go in and score, and then you couldn't take care of business. They score a touchdown, but then Seattle goes down, scores another touchdown, and gets the 2-point conversion.
dude,
Defense is
that
sus.
2 point conversion was insane.
It was wild.
and the backwards lateral pass, which constitutes as a fumble,
Oh, you're
whatever.
talking about the one that that
When he
ties the
throws it
game.
backwards, it hits him in the head, then it lands.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's an
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
pass. Zach
That's
Charbonnet
crazy.
goes to pick it up to hand it to the ref, and they're like, "That's a successful 2 points." And I'm like,
That's wild. Yeah, that was probably that's gonna go down in NFL history as probably one of the
"Oh
wildest
yeah,
calls or plays of all time. That's easily a top 5 play of all time. Like, that's crazy, especially the magnitude of that game. It's not it doesn't seal anything because they still gotta win out, but
yeah,
Seattle has to win that game to have a shot at the 1 seed. Seattle doesn't win that game, I mean, basically book it as the Rams being the number 1 seed, and that's what everybody didn't want. You didn't want the road to the Super Bowl going through, SoFi.
yeah,"
Um,
because they've done it before. They've proven that they can win. They've
yeah,
won.
absolutely, and it's momentum, it's momentum. Losing up until that Panthers game, you basically I think everyone penciled in the Rams as the Super Bowl champions. They were just like, "Oh, there's just no team that's gonna take them down." They were just running through people, and they still have. They're putting up points. They were putting up 45 points. I think they're still averaging the most points. They were just steamrolling teams. So to have a few losses like that, momentum's a real thing in the game. Momentum is a real thing in the season, especially late in the season.
Oh yeah.
And I know ACJ is struggling to get on tonight. I know he has some thoughts, but it's all good because we're going to run another show.
So let me ask you this real quick though.
Go for it.
So going for Texans versus Colts, do you start your starters or do you give them rest?
You're vying for the division and you're vying for a playoffs. Like, you're still vying for playoff seeding. Like, you still have to win out um, to get a good wild card spot. That's
Because you're in
you're
the
still
playoffs. You're
you're
in
in
the playoffs.
you're in the playoffs, but the division's still on the line.
Yeah. So you
Like, if yeah, it doesn't. Even if the Jaguars lose or win this week, they still have to beat the Titans next week. It's two in division games. As much as the Jaguars are better than both of these teams, division games can be weird.
yeah.
And you saw, I mean, who was it? The Chiefs and well, the Broncos. The Broncos were head and shoulders better than that team, but it was still a 20-13 game. I've
Yeah.
seen times when the Chiefs struggle with like the Raiders.
The Raiders, they struggle every year. It's always because even last year it was the Raiders had the game in the bag, and then you have the it was like the penalty, and then he throws the pick, but then they count it as not a
Oh
penalty.
yeah, that
Exception
was
goes to the Chiefs, and they get the ball. It's like the Chiefs should have, without a doubt, should have lost that game. But
right,
you know,
right.
that crazy technicality on the penalty helps them win. It's just
So short answer, no. I think you continue to play everybody, and even if you don't get the division, you're still playing for wild card seeding.
yeah,
I mean, if you could tell me if the Bills lose, you're in the fifth seed, but if the Texans lose next week and the Chargers and the Bills both wins, you're right back in the seventh seed. Now, given the state of the playoffs and the teams, you're probably most likely looking at either New England or Denver in the first round. That's not a bad matchup. So the question is like, all right, cool. Would you rather go in with a higher playoff seed in a little bit easier schedule or at full health? Full health. Full health seems more appealing because there's no team that scares me, and it's like you're gonna have to probably go on the road the whole time. The chances of you hosting a playoff game, even at the fifth seed, isn't likely. It's
because
not. No, go ahead.
I'll be honest.
Hey, let me
A
let me pull up ACJ real quick. Go ahead, do your thought. I'm gonna bring him in.
completely healthy Texans team going into New England versus Drake May in the first round, considering strength of schedules and everything that's happened. Like the first time we played Drake May, what, last year, 2 years ago, put up 40 on New England. Held
Drake
them.
May's a rookie.
No. Drake May is in like his second year.
Is he really? I thought he
Yeah.
was. Oh, okay, my bad. I was. Yeah.
Because we played him either last year or the year before, and we came out of New England like
last year.
it was like 20 to it was like 20-40 final score. So, and like I say, this isn't the same team, but it's also not the same defense. This is way revamped defense. I think this defense will destroy Drake May.
Okay. So, and I'll pose the question to ACJ. So the question is, would you rather the division is still all right, let me just back up. Would you rather rest your players next week or do you still play them next week? And the division's still in play and you're still vying for a higher wild card seed. Worst case scenario, I think the absolute worst case, the Texans stay at the 6th seed if the Bills win out and the Jaguars win out. But if the Bills lose to Philadelphia and the Texans win out, they'll be the 5th seed. Now, if the Jaguars lose one of 2 games, the Texans win out, they win the division. But would you rather be fully healthy going into the playoffs, or would you rather a higher seed and possibly host a home game in the playoffs? Given the state of the league and the teams that are in the 1 and 2 and 3 spots.
I mean, you got to do the best that you can, in my opinion. But I also believe that the Texans are good enough to beat the Colts with Davis Mills.
I think they are too. No, you're not just going to be sitting Davis Mills. You're probably going to be sitting Will Anderson Jr. You're probably going to be sitting Derek Stingley Jr. Azeez Al-Shaair is probably going to sit. All of your core players, all your captains, all of your foundational pieces on the offense and defense. Nico Collins.
You play them, and by halftime, you look at what's happening with the other teams. And
that's fair.
If it's not worth it, then just go ahead and rest them. But if they're looking like, the win's going to matter, then I would say you have to play. And it really depends on what happens tomorrow with Jacksonville. If Jacksonville loses, then you definitely start them. But if Jacksonville wins, then you can be like, okay, we're going to do half and half.
I could get behind halftime. I think halftime would be, well, they're not going to get the 1 seeds out. So with Denver winning, the 1 seeds out, so you're not going to get that bye. I was thinking of, I've seen teams play their starters half the game and then sit them, especially because you don't want that 2-game rust. But that's not the case. You're going to be playing in the wild card no matter what. I could get down with halftime.
Even last year, I think against the Titans, they had they put C.J. Stroud in for the first drive. He scores a touchdown, then they pull him after that.
Yeah, I think if CJ, I want to say CJ Stroud's the most important player, but I'm like, we've seen this team win with Davis Mills. So who's more, let me ask you this. Here's another question. Who's more important, CJ Stroud to the offense, or is it Azeez or Will Anderson Jr. to the defense?
Man, see,
that's a big question, right?
If you would have asked me this before
if it's just a regular season game, I think that Will Anderson is going to matter more. But in the playoffs, I think C.J. Stroud is going to matter more because Davis Mills is not going to he's not going to beat up on the good teams in the AFC.
But you don't have to beat up on the good teams. So that was something we were talking about. Sorry, Alex, let you get your thoughts out. Go ahead.
If you ask me this question, because you mentioned Azeez Al-Shaair versus Will Anderson. If you asked me this question before last week, I'm saying Will Anderson Jr. 9 times out of 10. But given what happened last week with Azeez not calling plays and seeing how that game went, I feel like Azeez is more of the heartbeat. Azeez is going to keep the entire defense as a whole where it needs to be. Will Anderson is going to give you that, he's going to give you that advantage and that edge, like as a player, but as a full-time, like if one of them has to sit and one of them has to play, I'm playing Azeez because you still have Danielle Hunter. You still have Rankins. You still have Derek Barnett. You still have guys who can get to the quarterback. But with Azeez, like
it's the quarterback on the defense.
Yeah, he's that guy because, like I say, Henry is a good linebacker, but as a green dot guy, he's not it.
You're not gonna believe me, but the defense is the same without CJ or without Azeez as the offense is without CJ. Like, yeah, they're gonna still play solid, but they're not gonna do anything meaningful. the only thing meaningful that Davis Mills did was against the Jaguars and come back from being down 29
But
points.
with this defense, though, you don't have to do anything meaningful. You just have to maintain. And that was a topic to
You
rewind a
have
little
to
bit.
you still have to stay up though. That's the thing that people
Yeah.
take for granted when it comes to CJ, because even today on Twitter, people were talking trash saying if the Texans lose, then it's because CJ Stroud. But the reason why they were up was because of CJ Stroud.
But they were
So
also with Davis Mills did the same thing against the Bills, though, too. So we've seen it be done with Davis Mills. Now we only saw, I think that was we only saw like a 2 or 3 game sample size in which they won 2 of the 3. CJ Stroud was out 2.5 games. He was done for like most of the Denver game, and then he was out. The
no,
Jaguars.
he was out 3 full games.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the other game he was out?
Because Davis beat the
It was
Bills.
the Titans,
Yeah, Davis beat the Bills, the Titans, and the
Jaguars. Yeah,
That's right. You're right.
He
And so
came
they
in
had that.
he won 2 division games, which matter greatly.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something, we were talking about, to recap a little bit. The formula moving forward, where the Texans moving the ball, scored 14 points in the matter of 7. Their first 2 possessions, they scored 14 points, and then they scored 6 points the rest of the game. You're just not going to see that this thing where I'm like, I got to see more from the offense. I got to see more. We're just not going to see it. And that's not a bad thing, because this defense is so good. What they have to do is score early and score fast. And this defense is good enough to hold teams under 20 points. Like, you score 20 points or more, this defense is locked down. You saw them give up a late drive against the Chargers. But at the end of it, the
Be like
offense still
Colts
came.
fans, but you can argue it was the refs. Penalties
What's that?
gave up
Oh yeah,
gave up points for sure.
absolutely.
Another thing I will say too is I understand we do keep saying, man, I do want to see more from the offense. I want to see more from the offense. We've been saying that for the last 8 weeks straight, and they won every game 8 weeks straight.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying.
Because I'm continuing, but I honestly still feel like it's like I want to see more. I want to see more. Even with 8 straight wins, I want to see more, but it's like,
what do you want to see? Because it is the point of the game to win, and the Texans have not just won one way. They've won every single way that you can possibly win. They had to come back, and then whenever they have to come back, they win. They can get up, and they can stay up. They can sustain drives long enough to keep the ball away from the other team, and even if they do give it back, then we literally play what you would call complimentary football to the best of our abilities. We are a complete team in every sense of the word. Our strength is just our defense rather than our offense, because you look at the Rams, right? They scored 38 points or 37 points and lost, to the Seahawks. And so it's like, if you score a bunch of points but still lose, then I won't take that over.
But that's the thing is, I want to see us score a lot of points and then hold another team to a little, I want everybody.
So you want to blow out.
Everybody wants a 40-0 blowout. Like, everybody wants those games. Like, that's something that you want to see. You just want to see your team go out there and just completely put a man on the floor and just stomp him out. That's what people want to see.
Here's the one scenario that I don't have confidence in the offense, because we saw it in the Jaguars, but that was mid-season. I think there's 2 halves of the season, and in this, that was the first game of the 8-game win streak. Since then, we haven't seen this team have to overcome a deficit in which the offense has to go down and score points, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. You've been up. In every sense of the game, the Texans are front runners. Once they get a lead, their defense is good enough to stay up.
But also, they came back against the Raiders, and I know people won't say that it doesn't really count, but it does really count.
Well, that's fair.
And
that's
also,
fair. I'll give you that one.
Isn't it ironic that people say that our offense is terrible, but we're always up? And the other team always has to come back. The other team always has to try and come back against us. But people say that our offense is bad. But that's the definition of a good offense if the other team is always trying to come back.
Well, the defense. They score when they need to, but it's always a tale of 2 halves. There's no consistency. They put up a couple touchdowns in one half, and then they'll give you like a field goal or 2 field goals, which is enough. And I think that's the formula. The scenario in which it makes me nervous is when the Texans have to come back from a deficit against a good team. I get it that it was the Raiders, but the Raiders are an incompetent organization right now.
But the organization doesn't play on the field.
No, but their team
Only
has
the
been
team
bad for
they
a few years. Like I say,
but
incompetent
it's still
organization because it's
professional
a bad team.
football, you know. I
It's
like
professional.
I take those wins, ironically, you know, and especially because it was just one time. On top of that, it wasn't like we're not like the Broncos, the Patriots, where we just beat up on teams that were of the same quality as the Raiders. It was one game after our 6 game win streak because every team people tried to discredit, we went in there and we played a good game against them. And
Absolutely.
so
This is the formula for success. And I think this is sustainable this year. Do I think this is sustainable in years past? No, I don't. But I think this year, with the level of, I don't want to say equality, but like how equal the playing field is, there's no juggernaut team. And so this formula is it's a path to success for
see, I
the
don't believe
Texans to
that.
win a Super Bowl.
I believe the Texans are the juggernaut team. People just don't want to give us our credit, but we're the one
That's
team
fair.
that stops. We're the one thing that has been consistent throughout the league. Our defense travels everywhere and gives everybody they play a problem to the same level. Nobody wants to play the Texans defense. And like I said, the Broncos got lucky because the Texans quarterback got hurt and they still barely won. They still barely won.
You only put up
Absolutely.
18 points, like, and
You scored on a last second field goal
Sure.
and that
against
was
our backup
after,
quarterback who
and
hasn't
that
played
was
football in a year.
and that was after we got too conservative trying to play for the overtime instead of playing for the, to try to drive down the field, and we ended up kicking the ball away.
And I mean, here's my definition of juggernaut. My definition of juggernaut is when you're consistently blowing teams out by 10 plus points. There's no the Rams they were the juggernaut up until about a month ago. They were untouchable. You might as well, I think everyone had them penciled in as the Super Bowl winners. I thought they were the most complete team. I think the Texans are unequivocally the AFC favorite right now. I'm back on that train. Do I think they're a juggernaut? No, because they're not blowing teams out. Now they're finding ways to win, and that's important. A dub is a dub, but a
That's more
juggernaut is
important.
blowing teams out.
That's more important because think about it historically. Like the greatest show on turf, what happened? When they went against the Patriots, they couldn't win. The Chiefs last year, they couldn't do anything against
Yeah, but
Philadelphia,
they
who
weren't a
barely could
juggernaut
score.
last year. They were a juggernaut based on pedigree. They weren't a true juggernaut. And ball doesn't lie because when they got to the Super Bowl, they got blown out.
They
Every
did get
even
they
Chiefs
did get
even
blown
Chiefs
out.
fans.
But you would consider like the Bills in the past few years be a juggernaut, right? What happens to them? They can't score points enough. They couldn't score enough points to beat the Chiefs. And then the Ravens also, they can't score enough points to beat the Chiefs. So if you can't score, you can score all you want, but when it gets to the playoffs, you see the things that matter the most, and it's defense. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I've always been an offensive minded person, but defense is the thing that legitimately gets you to the championship because the Rams in like whenever they played the Patriots in Super Bowl that year, the Rams were putting up a lot of points. Isn't that the year that they had that 50-point game against the Chiefs? And what happened? What happened? They it was the what was it? It came down to like a 20 to 13 point game at the end of the day. And so if you can't stop the other team from scoring, it doesn't matter how many points you can score because you're gonna play the best defense in the other conference whenever you get
Yep.
there. And
The
so
Texans are the favorites. They have. I just don't. I can't put them as the complete team. Like I
I
think they're the
can
favorites.
because that's the question you got to ask is which quarterback is going to beat the Texans defense?
None.
Who? Who? The only one you can make a legitimate uh stance for is Matthew Stafford. That's it. That's
Matthew,
literally the only one.
him and Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has done it.
Sam Darnold, he has done it
Sam Darnold
once.
had 4 turnovers in that game. The problem was the Texans' offense couldn't capitalize.
Yeah,
Couldn't
and
capitalize.
even
But
Matt
that's a
Stafford.
those things those days are over for the Texans or offense. The Texans offense always may not be pretty, may not be flashy, but they always score when they need to score
Here,
every single
here's
time.
here was the disappointing thing today was CJ Stroud not only throwing 2 picks, but throwing 2 picks in their own territory. And they were super fortunate to only give up 3 points when those were essentially worst case, they should have given up 6. So those like
At this
you can't
point, it's
have
not even
those.
fortune. The defense does that every time.
Absolutely. But there's no question. This is the best defense in the league. No debate, nothing. This defense is super elite. If If the Texans don't win a Super Bowl, if they lose a playoff game, it will be because the offense couldn't score enough points. The defense gave up. The defense probably gave up 20 points, but let's say the
I
offense
don't
only scored
agree.
17.
CJ Stroud has played
It's not
some
CJ
of his
Stroud.
best
It's Nick Haley.
football. Has
It's
played some
Nick
of his
Haley.
best football in the playoffs.
I don't disagree with that. I think CJ Stroud's clutch. What I have concerns with and what I've had concerns with this whole season is the play calling. The play calling is inconsistent because what did you see the Texans do? They score 14 points right off the bat. They go 2 deep shots. They do, what was it? Run, deep pass, run, deep pass. Home run plays. Why did we go away from that?
But
What
they
happened?
won't fix it.
What happened? Like,
Trying not to lose. They don't know how to play while being up like that much.
But my whole thing is like I said, when you put them on the ground, if they can't stop the deep ball, keep throwing the deep ball. I go up 21, go up 28, go up 35. Guess what? That defense is going to hold. The defense is going to
the
hold.
defense will hold. And that's what I'm saying. I was like, why are we playing conservative, man? Go for it. You have the horses on the other side to hold teams.
Exactly. Because my whole thing is if you can put up, as a Texans offense, if you can put up 28 points, you can put up 35 points, you have not had a single team score. You have not had a single team put up 30 on you. So if you can put up 30, nobody can stop you.
It's a dub. You put up 25 because we just went over it. In this 8-game win streak, the most points they gave up was 29 to the Jaguars. They're averaging 17 points. Their most in this 7-game win streak, 8-game win streak, besides the 29, was 21 points. 21 points to the Raiders. You have a Geno Smith. Geno Smith played did he taken out the half the time or did he play the whole game?
He played the whole game.
But also we were missing Azeez Al-Shaair, man.
And exactly.
Henry got beat down on 2 touchdowns to Genty.
The formula is there. And the formula is you go up quick, this defense holds.
Like I said, man, it's football. That's just how it is. Like, and I'm gonna switch it even over to music. Like, even great artists make bad songs. There is nobody in history that has done anything 100%. Because even like I said, I love to bring up the Patriots. When the Patriots were beating teams and winning 6 Super Bowls, they weren't always scoring 40 points. Sometimes they would just score, they will beat you 10-3. And that was enough. They just win. They just find ways to win. And that's the true mark of a good team is you find every single way to win. Because this was not the conversation. This was the same conversation at the beginning of the season, right? People were like, oh, the offense can't score enough. The offense can't score enough. Now people are looking for the games to look pretty rather than it just to be a win. Because we're beating teams. Every time we play a game, the other team loses, and we're still like, it doesn't look good enough, though. It doesn't look good enough, though. It doesn't look good enough, though. At what point in time do we just start looking at the win column and be like, that looks good enough? Because we're talking about talking about things that haven't happened. Oh well, what if you get into a shootout, then you need to, but like that hasn't even happened yet. No team has put up so many points on us that we had to score. So why would we be practicing for something that has not existed yet?
No, I 100% agree with that. I think at this point, this is what I'm saying. This is what the offense is, and this is what the offense needs to be, and it's a successful formula.
This is what the team is 100%. This is where our team is constructed.
This is what the team is. It's successful formula. And so I'm not trying to sit here and ragtag and say the Texans can't do it. They absolutely can. This is the secret. This is the secret sauce, the formula to success. Words are hard. You can win a Lombardi playing this way, given the state of football this year.
Even not the state of football.
I think there's another debate.
Who was going to be it? The Chiefs were the only team that was like that. And we went and then we beat them and pretty much eliminated them.
I'm not talking like this year. I'm talking about this year. And in years past, I don't know if this team gets it done, but this isn't years past. This is this year. You play in this year. That's a hypothetical for another time.
Especially because we still had all the same, with the exception of Joe Burrow, pretty much everybody was healthy. The league just for some reason equalized greatly this year.
Do you feel like injuries have affected this season?
Absolutely.
Less than I think that people are trying to give him credit for. Like the Ravens, Lamar has been out, but they were 0-3 with Lamar to start the season. The Chiefs lost the first 2 games of the season with Patrick Mahomes and everybody else. Joe Burrow got hurt like he always gets hurt pretty much. But on the NFC, every major quarterback was healthy. You just
Sure.
have a lot of unforeseen circumstances because I think the optics is the thing that is making the league look very ugly to us this year, right? Because we have Sam Darnold again having pretty much a 13-3 and above season. And we also have the Chicago Bears who are playing really well. The Packers have played how they've always played. Jordan Love is super hot and cold. They win a bunch of games, but they're not going to be scary in the playoffs. The
Packers defense
Cowboys
is getting
have
torched,
been as
by the way,
bad as
right
they've
now.
always been. Probably the two biggest disappointments have been the two Super Bowl teams. But there's a Super Bowl hangover. So why do we expect the Eagles to be anything they were going to be? The Rams were in the NFC Championship last year. Josh Allen is in the playoffs again.
They were in the
Uh,
divisional last year.
who? The Rams? Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. The Rams lost to the
The,
Eagles right
yeah.
before.
The
But the
Rams haven't
Rams,
been in the title game since 21. But
the Rams are a playoff team again. Okay, we'll say that. But you see, we still got the Bills going to the playoffs. The Texans, the Jaguars going is, I guess you can say, the surprise instead of the Chiefs. The Steelers being good, they pretty much go to the playoffs every single year. The NFL is way closer than it always has been. But us as fans were like, what? The Patriots are the best team? They sucked last year. What? The Broncos are the best team? They sucked last year. But the Broncos have always been one of the best franchises in the NFL, So I mean, it kind of is exactly how it always has been. With the exception of the Vikings and the Lions, because they were the two best teams last year in the NFC.
Yeah.
But they're not making it this year. But their quarterback went to another team and is taking that team to the playoffs again. So it's been only a few minor switches, but we feel like it's been a really big change because we don't know who's going to win. That's really the thing.
One big thing, though, is if you look at the Final Four, if you look at the top four teams in the AFC, the past two seasons, last season and the year before, it was the Texans, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs. So two of those teams not making it is definitely like you're going to turn a lot of heads. When you've had the same four teams back-to-back years and now two of those teams, you're kind of like, what is going on? You are
those teams, when you kind of peel back the curtain a little bit, those two teams are kind of old.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are getting up there. Like, they have some youth. You have
Xavier Worthy, Rasheed Rice, who are kind of guys.
But like on the defensive side of the ball, Chris Jones, super dominant, but that man's been in the league since what, 2016?
Yeah, Trent McDuffie, he's really nothing without L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed is gone, so you're losing a lot of those guys.
Travis Kelce starting to get old.
George Karlaftis.
Yeah. That defense is just, you had key players, but those key players they're aging. They're not in their prime anymore.
But also, like I said, the biggest factor to me is we saw this at the beginning of the season. This isn't a surprise. The Chiefs started off with losing 2 games, and the Ravens were 0-3, and now those two teams missed the playoffs. Not everyone is in Texas. You can't come back from being down 0-3 and make the playoffs.
Let me ask you this: instead of being injuries being kind of the reason, do you think we're seeing a influx of youth that's playing, and so all the teams that are in the playoffs and are vying for a spot have more youth that is starting versus teams that are more seasoned that have older players?
The only argument you can make with that really is the Broncos and the Patriots, right? And the Bears, because Caleb Williams is in his second or third year.
I mean, the Rams are a young team, especially on defense.
Nah, you have not on offense. Not on offense.
Yeah. I mean, Puka's only been in the league for 3 years.
Yeah, but you got Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
but I mean, Kyron Williams isn't super. He's not always been in the year a couple of years. You have Blake Corum, their second running back, has been in the league a couple of years. Yeah, you have a few pieces that are seasoned veterans: Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams. Outside of that, I mean, there's a huge youth movement. Puka's not going anywhere anytime soon. That whole defensive line has been revamped and it's way better than when they had Aaron Donald.
I mean, yeah, it is a young man's game. It is a young man's game.
I think you look at a team. Look, let's be very clear. There's a team that shouldn't be in the playoffs, and they are, and that's the Niners. The amount of injuries they took early on, they shouldn't be in the
So
playoffs.
they officially made it.
Oh yeah, they made it last week. And what's crazy
Dang, it's
too is
crazy.
if they win out, they'll be the number 1 seed. If they
That's
win
funny.
beat the Bears tomorrow night and they beat the Seahawks, which will probably get flexed in the Sunday night spot
Yeah,
next Sunday, the road for the Lombardi goes through Santa Clara, which is
I,
wild.
I would love that. The Super Bowl is there this year too.
That's what I said. The road to the Lombardi.
I would love to play the 49ers in the Super
That
Bowl.
would be super interesting. And it would
I
be
would love
super
it because
interesting.
I don't think the 49ers will win.
I don't
Kyle
know, man.
Shanahan, no, he wouldn't. If he got his first ring against us, I would be sick to my stomach.
It's a very interesting matchup because those teams they're the same. They have the inverse problems. Whereas like the Texans offense is super inconsistent, the 49ers defense is super inconsistent. And it's largely because of injuries. You lose Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, you're gonna have a hard time shutting people down. They've had moments when they've stuck it to people. They shut down Jonathan Taylor. Now, Jonathan Taylor wasn't doing anything the past couple of games, but Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in the league right now, and they held him to 2.9 a carry.
Except whenever I need him to score on my fantasy team.
I'm gonna say this. I'm taking the Texans defense against Brock Purdy.
Oh, I would
Again,
too.
that's
I would too.
that is literally what I always say. There's only one quarterback that I would probably not take over the Texans defense, and that's Matthew Stafford. Every single other quarterback is going to get killed by the Texans defense.
I will say this: Matthew Stafford only put up 14 points against the Texans defense.
This is true, but he has the potential to be able to do it. And Nakua, oh man, I hate that matchup.
And I think the one, because like I say, Woody Marks gets the ball punched out last second. The game was in our hands. Like it, I'm still mad about week 1. I would nothing I would love more than to beat the Broncos in the AFC Championship and then beat the Rams in the Super Bowl.
I don't have any beef against the Rams.
Those are 2 games that we should have won, could have won, and
but then the game that hurts me the most is the Bucks, because all you had to do is stop them on that 4th and 19 or whatever.
That is true.
And then you win the game.
Henry misses the tackle, and Baker Mayfield
The
runs.
Bucks and the Broncos, those 2 games are the ones.
But I say the thing when I look at the first 3 losses is the defense really wasn't all connecting, because I mean C.J. Gardner-Johnson was kind of a cancer to the team. Getting rid of him kind of made the defense the dogs that they are now.
There was another CJ that wasn't quite clicking yet, and now CJ Stroud, because he's learning his offense. It was like the first 3 games learning a brand new offense with a brand new coordinator coming off your worst year. You know, he had to find his rhythm again.
Well, yeah, that is true, because you score 14 points, 19 points, and what did they score in 10 points? Back to back games. So like your offense wasn't there, but at the same time your defense wasn't there. But
it's preseason. My bad. It's preseason, so it's an extension of preseason. I guess regular season, but the first couple games, because you're going down to 3 games in the preseason and you have such a long season. Those are
week 1 is definitely preseason. Week 4,
yeah. I would say the first 2, like you have, because
just like our defense is better, the Rams offense is better too.
The Rams offense has been consistent. They've been putting up points throughout most of the year. 37
points on Seattle's defense is crazy.
Yeah, but Seattle put up 30. Did they put up 37? No, they put up 35.
They put up 38. 38 because they won.
You're talking about Seattle putting up 38 against the Rams defense.
Yeah, 38-37 was the final score.
Yeah.
Because the Rams, it was 30-30 in halftime, overtime, and then the Rams scored, kick an extra point, and then the Seattle scored 2-point conversion.
This is why I don't have them as a juggernaut, because that defense is super susceptible. You can put up points against that defense, and the Rams defense has always been susceptible, especially the secondary. Their defensive front is usually always good. Their linebackers and their corners, they've never, outside of Jalen Ramsey, that one year they won the Super Bowl, their corners are poo. Their safeties are sus. Like, they can be had.
Yeah.
Let's see the scores. They gave up 38, 34, 17, 31.
They gave up 34
7. They gave up 34 to the Lions.
Oh, that's right.
They gave up 10 to the Saints, 7 to the Jaguars. They gave up 3 to the Ravens. They gave up 26 to the 49ers, 20 to the Colts, 33 to the Eagles. Yeah, they are. They're very hit or miss. They
Inconsistent.
gave up
So
either a lot or a little.
I don't have anybody as a juggernaut. Like, I really don't. I think to be a juggernaut, you need to have a top 5 offense and at least a top 10 defense.
I think the
Or
Texans
vice
count as
versa.
a juggernaut to me.
You need to have they're a good team and they're the favorites. I just don't have them as a juggernaut.
I do, because you're not gonna score enough points to beat them.
We'll see. The path to success.
And that man, Justin Herbert, should have got sacked like 7 times today, but they kept getting called back on penalties. Justin Herbert got hit a lot.
He sure did get hit a lot. That offensive line is, like I said, the offensive line was poo. It was ranked 27th.
Yeah,
they had
our offensive line did really good for having 2 backups.
Oh yeah, I did extremely well, especially the run.
CJ
that's one thing we don't give Nick Taylor credit for that, but the offensive line
that's not his
and also we can run the ball. That's what people don't look at, because that is how we win all these games. Because whenever we need to get that first down, Woody Marks or Jordan, I don't know his first name, both of them boys have done what they need to do. We've run the ball when it mattered every single time. So that is the strength of our offense, because that's one of the things that the announcer said right before the half. They went and threw a pass and they were like, "What? You've been running the ball and they haven't been able to stop you. Why wouldn't you keep running the ball?" And then CJ threw a pick.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to spam running more, because I'd be like, "Hey, why we always run pass,
run and then throw deep shots?" Because
those are
a
our
couple
strengths,
things.
for sure.
One of 2 things, one of 3 things might happen. One, you either catch it for a big gain, a 30 to 40 yard gain. 2, you run the chance of getting a flag, and that's essentially a 30 to 40 yard gain. Or even if you throw a pick, you essentially just punted. And against this defense, okay. But throwing short picks like that in your own territory, that's going to come back and bite you in the ass.
And those are uncharacteristic of CJ. Who doesn't usually do that?
I agree. Usually,
one of them was tipped. One of them was tipped, but the other one was just like, "Hey, who's open?" The defender was like, "Me." All right, cool. It kind of was a gimme ball right there.
So I think the play that there's a couple boneheaded plays which I was like, just run the ball and run more time off, was when right before they kicked the field goal to go up 20-10. It looked like a 5 to 7 step drop back. The Chargers brought the house, and CJ just throws it up, trying to throw to receiver. A little bit of a dangerous pass, but I'm like, dude, don't get cute. You need 5 yards. Do a 3-step drop, have some slants, have some ins, have some outs, something simple to get it, or just run the ball. Woody Marks has been super clutch and gets 7 yards, like a 3rd and 7. He'll get 7 or 8 yards. Like, just do that. Keep the clock running. And I get you want to put the dagger in, but do it smart. Don't get cute. And those are the things that you kind of head scratching, and you're like, they've been getting away with it, and it's a successful formula.
Our offensive coordinator has not completed 1 full season in the National Football League. I think that matters. That matters. This man went from being a pass game coordinator to being the offensive coordinator of a playoff team. Well, that's a drastic jump.
Yeah, but let's not act like he's been around football before. Like, he's just brand new to football and doesn't know how this works. To get offensive coordinator position,
you know how it goes. That's what doing anything new. It's like how many times when you're in the car when you're a kid, you watch your parents drive the same route over and over again, and then when you get in the driver's seat, all of a sudden you start missing turns and be like, "Where am I at again? Where am I going?" Because when you're in the driver's seat, it's a lot different than when you're just observing as a passenger.
Yeah, but it's also a big difference of being a child and being a grown adult.
I mean, it's the same thing because by the
You
time
know,
you start, from the
grown
time you,
adult, if you're a
from
grown adult sitting in a passenger seat and you get into the driver's seat and start driving, it's gonna be completely different. I'm just being honest.
But like, let's not act like driving and calling plays are two different things. You're the passing coordinator, which means you are still choreographing passes and you need to understand plays and defenses and understanding the flow of the game. The difference is you
but
are the
he's
person calling
but
that.
Sean McVay is the person that is choosing the plays, that is calling the plays, that is designing it, that is studying the film to look for all these things. When you're a pass game coordinator, pass game and run game are two sides of the ball, right? You're only looking at one thing. You're hyper focusing on one thing. And now all of
Yeah,
a
but
sudden you
you
are
have to
entire
understand
it's
both
a
sides of the
leadership
ball.
role. It's a whole different leadership role. Now you're the one doing the reps in practice for the offense, deciding how we're going to utilize this guy, how we're going to do this. It's a whole different jump. You're not just going from, you
The
know,
problem the problem I have with that is it's not like, we're playing two games and then we have to figure it out. It's an 18 game season. We are 17 games out of 18. Uh, the organization spends millions of dollars to have analytics, to have film, to be able to study, to look at your own patterns, to be like, oh, this worked, this didn't work. Why are we continuing to make the same mistakes? That's my biggest issue. Like, all right, if we were doing this at this beginning of the week and you're trying to figure it out, it's one thing. We're week 17. Why are we still doing this? Why are we not going with what works and being consistent? I
I don't
get
know. I don't
there's a learning
agree
curve to it.
because also every single team is different, and the flow of every single game, all the situations in every single game is different,
But
and
you
it's
have
like,
people looking over you saying like, "Hey, this is working. This is working. Circle that play and run it again."
but this isn't Madden. You're running against whole different personnel because you can see. Okay, let's just use a very broad example. 1 week against the Cardinals, you're like, oh, that play worked, and then next week Ed Reed is the safety, and you're trying to run that same play. It ain't gonna work because
But
Ed
I'm not
Reed is
talking
smart enough
about
to stop that.
different teams. That's fine to game plan against different teams. But if you have a pattern or a string of plays that is working and the other team can't stop, madden that shit.
I'm gonna say
Spam
this.
it.
I'm gonna say this. You did 2 drives. You threw 2 deep balls. You burnt that safety twice. You burnt him on back-to-back drives. Why did you not go to that third time? If you done beat this man twice and he couldn't stop it twice, I'm gonna take that shot. If he can't stop it a third time, I'm gonna take that shot. If he can't stop it a fourth time, hey, go find somebody else to put in that spot. And when you put somebody else in that spot, I'm gonna take a shot at him too, and I'm gonna see if he can stop it because the first dude couldn't stop it the first 4 times. You have to
So
put your foot on his neck and just hold it there. Like that's the problem. It worked back-to-back drives. Do it a third time. Do it a fourth time. Keep doing it until they figure it out.
let me
Once
ask
they
you
figure it
this.
out, now
You watch plenty of football. You know that's not how it works. No, what team just keeps running the same play over and over again until it works,
no,
or
no,
until
no,
it
no.
stops working? Until it stops working.
Well, a lot of teams don't, and that's the problem. That's the problem.
That's
I'm not
wishful
saying you have to
thinking, to
run
say
the
the least.
exact same play, but if you have a package of plays, hey, we're getting success with running the running back up the A gap, up the B gap, between the tackles or outside zone. If you have something that's working, call it different sides, maybe rotate running backs, but run that stuff. And here's where I think the argument gets, and this is one of those what ifs, but we'll play this game. What if CJ Stroud throws a pick on that play because he throws it up in the air instead of it incomplete and they kick a field goal? Would that change your thoughts of him calling that play? I'm just saying, like, if he throws the pick, they don't get the field goal, the Chargers go down, they possibly tie the game up, and who knows what happens at that point. There's a pattern in which the Texans have the opportunity to put the game away. The offense does not put the game away when they could. Now they put the game away this time. It was off a penalty. I don't like that, but hey, the ball bounced in their favor. But they could have put the game away on that drive. You could have chewed more clock up and then scored either a touchdown or kicked a field goal. And then even at 10 points with 3 minutes left, good luck trying to score 10 points on that defense in 3 minutes. There's super crucial times, and this happened against Buffalo. Is the same thing. They called, they were running the ball up and down all game in the first half and couldn't do anything in the second half. Um, just be smarter and understand where you're at in the game, and don't call plays that could potentially lead to turnovers, or just call a 3-step drop and not a 7-step drop. That's all I'm saying. Just little game plays like that kill me.
I think that Nick Caley will start to learn as time goes on, because this is if anybody was doing this as a first year quarterback, you would say he's a rookie. He's gonna learn as time goes on. And when it comes to coordinators, we're like, yeah, this man's a grown man. He should already know what he's doing.
Yeah, but
this is his first year calling plays in the NFL.
But there's a big difference between a rookie quarterback coming from playing college
ball. There's
not. Yes, there is.
There's not, bro, because there's a thing. There's a difference between knowledge. There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. There's a big difference between knowledge and wisdom.
There's a big difference between college and the NFL. Somebody who's already been in the NFL system, working in the NFL.
But listen to this point. Nick Caley has never been a play caller in the NFL ever.
But he's working
ever. So when's the last time? Go look at when the last time he called plays for a team. It was probably in college when he was a coach that was at a lesser pedigree in a different league. This is the last time he called plays and was an offensive coordinator
in an NFL system.
Yeah, but when you're the passing play coordinator, you're not necessarily calling the plays during the game, but you're still having to give the offensive coordinator your suggestions. You're still having to scheme things up, and you have to see.
Yeah, but you're giving Sean McVay, who's an offensive genius, suggestions. He's already taking care of everything else. He should
also learn.
He
from
is
it
a
too.
genius. Yeah, you can learn from it, but you don't understand how much of that is Sean McVay until Sean McVay is not around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it goes. Like, you're like, when you're in the system working with other people, you're like, oh, okay, like, I actually have a lot of skills. This is easy. And then you go to a different team, and then you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize how good this guy was. I didn't realize how good that guy was, so I could just do my one thing. Now I have to do all these things, and now I have to relearn how to play the game, because now all of a sudden that system that was around me that was helping me so well is not there for me anymore. And you see that happen all the time. Even Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is a genius head coach. You get rid of Tom Brady, all of a sudden it gets a lot harder to start calling plays, because you didn't realize how easy it was to start calling plays whenever it was
but that's execution.
Tom Brady,
that's not play calling, though. There's a difference between a player and a coach. A coach can just call the plays all day long and be in his rhythm, but if the players can't execute, there's nothing he can do about that outside of coaching them better. But you're not the one out there executing the plays. The man is there to recognize a pattern, to see what is working, to have other people up in the booth. Is he in the booth or is he on the field? I don't know.
I haven't even seen a shot of him this season.
People. It's not like he is the only person that is seeing the field, that is recognizing what is happening. Other people are like, hey, this is working.
He's a leader. That's the thing. People, it's all funneling through him. He's not the
head coach. He's not the head coach.
But he's the offensive leader. That's the thing, because DeMeco Ryans is giving like more of a bird's eye view. He's not.
Well, DeMeco Ryans is the defensive guru. He's a defensive coach. So I guarantee you he has more say over the defense because that's his strength.
Yeah, because he was calling plays the first couple games before he gave it over to Matt Berg.
The argument you're making is more for the head coach. The offensive coordinator needs to see and understand everything.
I think it happens that same way, because that's why you will see all the time whenever the Patriots coordinators will go to a different, or the ex-Patriot coordinators will go to a different team, they wouldn't have that magic they had anymore, because Bill Belichick wasn't there holding the glue together for everything else for them to thrive in that one role. That's like Matt Patricia. He was a genius defensive coordinator because he's working with Bill Belichick. He goes somewhere else, and then all of a sudden he can't be the head coach like how he could be. He couldn't do the same thing that he was doing in New England because Bill Belichick wasn't there holding it all together. And you see that with every single coordinator that they have, because you don't realize how much Bill done until you don't got him no more. That's just how sports go, man.
I guess, man. I got you on that one. That's a good debate for another. We'll finish this debate up.
Yeah, that's why picking another team's coordinator never does you any good, because you're taking away every single other thing that they had going for them. And that's the same thing we did for them.
But you bring coaches with you,
because it would be one thing if I think a better example would be if Nick Caley had got promoted to offensive coordinator of the Rams, but he didn't. He went to a whole other team, having never called plays before, having never been in that role before. And so that's why I'm like, I understand he's not doing the best, but this man is trying to manage 20 things at one time. And it's his first year. Everything is new to him. And so people are studying his tendencies, and he's trying to break his tendencies so that people can't get him on film, so on and so forth. It's not just, in a vacuum, oh yeah, he needs to just call better plays, you know. And I know I'm having a lot of grace and I'm being the contrarian in this, but I feel like
Entirely
it
great.
matters a lot because it literally is the very first year this man calls plays. Because which offensive coordinator became a coordinator, lit it up their first year and had the best offense in the league? I would like to see the stats on that. They went from not being a coordinator to becoming a coordinator and having the best offense in the league. Show me the stats. I'm willing to bet it's not high.
Kyle Shanahan, they had that 2000. They lost to the Patriots, but that year with Matt Ryan, I'm pretty sure he was a rookie coordinator.
He was a rookie coordinator in 2017.
16.
Okay, yeah, it was 16. They played the Super Bowl in the year of 17. You know what?
He might have not been a rookie coordinator, but I know he was with
See,
Washington.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So he already had been a coordinator somewhere else.
All right, I'll tell you what. We'll
His
circle
first
back.
year as an offensive coordinator was 2008 with the Houston Texans.
Look at that. And
Oh,
so
wow.
by the time he actually had a good offense, he was a Falcons offensive coordinator from 2015 to 2016. So that was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 7 years later. He became the best offensive coordinator in the league.
He was a
You got
Texans
me there.
coordinator, the Redskins, the Browns, and the Falcons.
I know he was with the Redskins for a while. I know he's the offensive coordinator.
So
I forgot
please,
about that.
you remember Al? He went from being the quarterbacks coach of the Houston Texans in 2007 to being the offensive coordinator in 2008 and 2009. Please tell me how good was the 2008-2009 Texans offense? Exactly, forgettable. Nobody remembers because of the first year's coordinator.
I'll
That was
tell
like
you
20 years ago.
I'll tell you right now, 2008 Texans. They actually went 8-8.
Stellar.
Third in the division. Under Gary Kubiak. Did they miss the playoffs?
Gary Kubiak was there for a minute.
Yeah, and then he finally left and then won. But he should have stayed.
See, I'm looking up the stats right now.
Them, it had a bye week in week 2, bro. What is that?
I'll concede, especially because we don't have enough data to say Nick Haley is good or bad.
That's literally my main point. Like, it's like, bro is gonna figure it out because every coach gets a good coach will get better with time.
He'll either figure it out or he'll get fired.
Year. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The Texans fans have such a skewed view because we just fired our second year offensive coordinator because he wasn't cutting it. And so people see this and be like, look, it's the same thing. He's just as trash. But it's like, no, give him a time. If we just keep firing coordinators after 2 years, you're never going to have a good coordinator. And if you want a coordinator to come in and immediately be good, you need to hire somebody that's been an offensive coordinator for years. But having a first-year guy that never called plays and you're thinking that he's going to have the best offense in the league is just as wishful as hoping that whoever gets drafted number 1 in the first round as a quarterback is going to be the best quarterback next year. Okay, that's highly unlikely.
I mean, look at what CJ did his rookie year. But I will say this: the Houston, I feel like if you have a playoff team like this and you're running the way that you're running, I don't think bringing in a first-year guy to be an offensive coordinator is a smart move. I think you go find season.
Okay, well, here's my counter. Who should we have brought in?
I mean, I can't give you a name off the top of my head, but I feel like a seasoned offensive coordinator would have been better than bringing in a guy.
So I feel like it kind of invalidates the argument because it's like you can't even name any seasoned offensive coordinators that were on the market last year, but we should have somehow brought one in.
No, but that's just because I can't name anybody. That's not saying that there were guys out there. I just personally don't know anybody that I could just name off the top of my head. But that's like it's like the Astros. Because I'll relate it to the Astros because the Astros bringing in Joe Espada off of their staff to be, the rookie manager after never being a manager when you had guys like Craig Counsell who were, seasoned veterans who could have came to a playoff caliber team and led that team to another, victorious playoff run. It's things like that because it kills the momentum that the team has already been building because you have a guy who's trying to figure it out. You have a team who's already figured out.
So you understand this logic when it comes to baseball, but it's the same thing as football. Nick Haley is literally figuring out how to be an offensive coordinator right now.
Yeah, and this is not the time for him to be figuring it out. When you're on a playoff caliber team already, you need somebody with experience.
Yeah, okay, let me ask you this though. Did
That's
we
a
think
luxury.
that did we think or know the Texans defense would be this good? Like we knew they
Yeah,
would be
we
good. We
knew
know
they
they were
were
going to be
solid
this
defense
good.
last year.
I knew they would. I knew they would have gotten better just because of the fact of bringing in guys like Daniil Hunter, re-signing certain guys. Like I knew that they would already be good because Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock last year were doing good, and I knew that it was like, okay, you're doing this good. You can only get better. Derek Stingley improved. Jalen Petrie improved. Like
So you see what I'm
adding
saying? You see what
adding
I'm saying?
so
With time, they can understand the
adding
defense better. They can understand the
adding a
role better.
seasoned veteran like Daniil Hunter on the other side of Will Anderson, like a guy with lots of experience, that helped a lot.
And that's why people say that all the time. Like people say, bringing in a veteran because a veteran can show people the ropes. They know how to prepare. They know how to play, so on and so forth. The
Yeah,
Texans, in general, the whole team is a very young staff.
yeah.
There
So
is
bring
no who is the senior guy telling the offensive coordinator how to be an offensive coordinator. He's figuring that mug out trial by fire right now. And so that's why I'm like, hey, look, to put the offense in a position to win every single game, to be up pretty much every single game, we are getting a lot more than we could be getting because we could be the worst offense in the league, not scoring any points, always being behind. But we're so used to the way that we have it, we don't even realize how good we got it because it could get worse and it can get ugly real quick. But we are not the ones down, always trying to fight back. That's a whole different way to play football.
Got you. I think the argument with the offensive coordinator, you don't know to say like you're a playoff team or not. You just don't know what kind of season you're going to have. The
Yep.
defense could be good. The offense,
And also,
Stephon Diggs is no
you
longer
could
there.
have major injuries. We've been very blessed to
Yeah.
not have any major injuries.
So it's tough to think of what kind of season you're going to have because there's a lot of variables. So to hire somebody, whether they're a rookie or not, I don't think it matters. The more you present it, I definitely agree with your argument of like, hey, oh dang, Packers just caught a deep pass. They're coming back. I lost my train of thought. Oh, given time, we'll see what happens. Let's see what happens next year. So I like your argument about give him time. It's been a minute. I I don't agree with the whole not ever calling plays. I think you're around that culture and you're around play calling, so you learn the tricks of the trade. So to say he just doesn't know like what plays to call, I don't buy that for a minute. Um,
I'm
but
not gonna say he doesn't know
hey,
what plays to call, but it's
I'm just
different when you're the one coming up with everything by yourself.
He's
Because
not doing
I'm an
like
artist. I'm an
but
artist,
that's
right?
why
Whenever somebody comes in with the song and you're just like, okay, you already have it 90% of the way there, or let's say even 70% of the way there, and I'm just tweaking words and tweaking phrases, it's a lot easier to do that than it is to come up with the song by yourself. Because all of us here listen to music all the time. Who here can write a number one song? And I can use your same argument, bro. But you've been listening to music for 30 plus years, David. You've been listening to music for 25 years, Alex. You telling me you can't write
yeah,
a number one song?
oh,
But
Malik
what are you
Willis.
gonna say? What are you gonna say? I've never written one before, though. I haven't
sure,
sat down to write a song. It's a lot
but
different when
let's
you're the one doing it and you realize, oh wait, all those elements aren't just there for me. I have to go find a drummer. I have to go find guitar players. I have to go find bass players. You have to go find everything because it's
but
not just laid out for you.
yeah, but it's not like he's the only person drawing up the plays. That's why you have a pass game coordinator and a run game coordinator.
Yeah, but
So
he's
there's
the
people like
driving force, the initiator, and not everybody. It takes some getting used to do that. You know, you got to cut your teeth to do it, which is why you see all the master record producers, all the master head coaches, like everybody who does these things. They've been in the league for years because okay, now I've seen the situation a lot. I've done with this a lot because it's the little things. Like even Bill Belichick was talking about, like it's the little things of football. They say it's a game of inches. He said one of the things that they would do to help them to better prepare for the Super Bowl is that at the beginning, as soon as they found out they make the Super Bowl, they would knock out all the bookings of the hotels and get all the family tickets and all those things done first. And then they would just be able to practice for the rest of the time. But he said at the beginning, like we would be scrambling to do that like a week before we had to go fly out and everything. And so it would mess up the way that they practice and stuff like that. And it was just little things like that make a massive difference, but you don't realize it until you're in that situation. Oh, snap, let's get these logistics out the way so we can just focus on football, or little things like he said, if you're a back and it's raining, you have to wear sleeves. Anybody who's a back has to wear sleeves, no ball to skin. Little things like that you should be a given. The Patriots would always check off those little bitty boxes, and that would give them the small competitive advantage. And when you don't do those things and somebody else is doing those things, then I feel like it makes a big difference, especially when everybody's a professional or should be, because there are some people who ain't really professionals. But that's really the main point that I'm making. It's like, bro is learning all these things he don't know. Same with like you have a kid for the first time, right? It's going to be a lot easier you dealing with this new kid that you're about to have than it was for you dealing with the kid that you did have, right? Even though you've been around kids before, but it's like you don't know what you don't know, or even moving into a place for the first time. You're like, oh, snap, I got to buy spoons. I didn't realize they don't just show up because my mom and dad always had spoons when I was here. I got to go buy the paper towel holder, I got to go buy dish soap and a sponge or I can't wash my dishes. Like you don't realize, even though I know I need dish soap to wash dishes, but you don't realize you got to go buy the dish soap and pick the dish soap until you're in that empty apartment and like, oh wait, I don't got nothing to wash my dishes with, and that's what I'm saying. Like Nick Caley is having that phenomenon right now.
All right, I got you. I'll give you that. It's to be seen at this point.
But if we have this conversation in 2-3 years, I have no excuses for him.
Next year, not 2 or 3 years. Next year.
Yeah, I give it
next
2
year.
seasons.
Next year.
That's crazy.
This was your year to figure.
Also, they got to give him a better O-line and more talent. We don't have that much talent. Like he has less talent to deal with than Bobby Slowick did, because Bobby Slowick had freaking what's his name, the tackle Laramie Tunsil and Joe Mixon, and couldn't do it. So that's a whole different thing.
Every team wishes they had a better player here and there. I'm not giving that excuse to nobody.
Yeah, because
you had O-line.
Because Nick Caley has found ways to get Nico Collins touchdowns, Christian Kirk touchdowns, Dalton Schultz touchdowns, Cade Stover touchdowns, Woody Marks, Nick Chubb, Jaden Daniels, Jaden Noel. So all of these
you're telling me he found a way to get all those people touchdowns and touches, but he's a trash offensive coordinator?
Saying he picks bad moments. There's moments where it's like you got to lock down and call a better play because it hasn't bit them in the butt, but it might.
But here's what I like to hear. Colin Cowherd said this, and I love it. He said, take away your best moment, take away your worst moment, and that's what you are. Because we can look in these hot moments and be like, Nick Caley didn't do this, didn't do that. But he also, what about all the plays he put the Texans in position to win the game? He did call those 2 plays. He didn't do it after that, but he called those 2 plays, which got us up so much that we could, F around and not score any more touchdowns after the first 10 minutes of the game and still win. Mm-hmm. So he put us in the position to win just as much as he put us in the position to lose.
Yeah, I'll give you that. What was I going to say? Oh, Derrick Henry. Ooh, Derrick Henry just broke a big one. It's 27-24. I thought it was going to be
the Ravens. What quarter is it?
When he went off the tackle and up for the first
It's about to be the third quarter's about to end. All right, I'm getting to these things. Oh, as far as the talent, sorry. Like I could name several players in every team in which they could use a better play. Offensive line has just been down across the league. There's not one team where it's like, oh, it's just super bad. Like it's just not good across the league. Every team
someone like the Broncos, or not the Broncos. What are they called? The Bengals. The Bengals have like 2 top 10 receivers. So obviously Joe Burrow is going to put up a lot of points and throw a lot of touchdowns. We don't have nobody. We don't have that.
Defense is trash though. That defense is a complete inverse.
I get tired of people saying like we don't have anything, bro.
I'm not saying we don't have anything, but I'm saying we don't have the most talented offense. But outside of Nico Collins, nobody is going to a different team and being a top 10. No one's top 10 at their position except Nico. Literally. So with that, I expect the offense to produce as much as they're producing.
No team has 2 top 10 receivers right now, besides the Bengals. And even then, their defense is so bad that it doesn't matter.
Exactly. But that's kind of my point. It's like, why are we expecting the Texans to produce more with nothing? They're producing accurately to the amount of talent that they have. Is my argument.
I'm not saying they're not. I think they're producing right where they should produce. My problem is in key moments, you have to call better plays. You need to understand where you're at. You need to understand what the potential outcomes could be. Yeah. So just better analytics. And maybe it's not his fault. It's more of the person who runs the statistics, like, hey, this play is statistically is going to give you the best shot given this circumstance. Just like when, in 2-point conversions, like, given the score, it is analytically better for you to go for 2 points because it gives you 3-point lead versus a 2-point lead so they can kick a field goal. Just little things like that.
I don't even know if the Texans have an analytic guy. They might.
I think
they might not.
That should be standard across the board. I don't see why you wouldn't.
It's not, man, because that's one of the reasons why the Astros were one of the best teams, because they were one of the first to adapt to analytics, and they were really big. Like Brett Strom, the pitching coach, like they would literally break down, okay, this is your best pitch, this is what you do, this is how you need to do this, so on and so forth. That's why the Astros could go get any Joe Schmo pitcher and turn him pretty much into an ace, because they had a program that was like that. But that's not every team thinks like that. Literally, not even close.
I'm curious as to why. You have these owners that have money to spend, and you have so much money. It's like, bro, just get Super Bowls. If that means getting someone that does the analytics, bro, pay that person $100K. If that brings in a Super Bowl,
you have to know where to put the money, and you have to know what thing is of value, and that's a personnel thing.
Numbers don't lie. I tell you that right now. For someone that's ran numbers, who did numbers for about 6 years, numbers don't lie. You find analytical trends.
How do you know which numbers matter the most?
Well, I guarantee you there's statistical categories in which you track things. Like it's not new. There's, how do you think PFF comes up with their numbers? There's people out there that know and understand those things. It's getting someone that knows how to look at the numbers. The numbers are there. Yeah. There's people that like to nerd out about these things. So spend $100,000. I guarantee you spend $100,000 to $150,000 and it gets you a couple Super Bowls. That right there will generate tens of millions of dollars in not only fans coming to the stadium on a consistent basis. Look at the Chiefs, bro. Their stadium was packed on Christmas Day after they were bounced from the playoffs, because those fans are loyal to that team, because that team was relevant. You get the Texans winning a couple Super Bowls because you spent $150,000 in analytics. The stands will be packed every single game, every single season, and people will be buying memorabilia left and right. So I'm
all for analytics. I just think that it takes a very forward-thinking person to know what things are important to focus on, and it's not common knowledge. That's why most people don't run their life on analytics.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to do every single thing, but have somebody. If you have a first-year coordinator, it would probably behoove you to have someone whispering in their ear, "Hey, you have this likelihood of this happening. Choose place." I mean, we're getting into the weeds of things, so who knows? But
that's a good place to be, man. That's where all the real magic happens, in the weeds.
But guess what? And here's why you're on the winning end of this argument right now, because winning cures all. If the Texans weren't winning, I can almost guarantee you we'd be all pointing at Nick Haley.
Yeah, because that's the crux of my argument, is that we literally could be losing, but the fact that Nick Haley has done enough to get his victories, I feel like winning, just goes over people's heads.
Winning cures all. So
because we weren't winning to start the season, and then we started winning, and it's still not enough. That's the thing. That's really the crux of my argument, is that it's never enough. People want it to be a 50-10 victory every game, or else we didn't really earn it. Somehow.
The problem isn't so much the style; it's that the Texans don't have pedigree yet.
I mean, you won't get pedigree until you win until you win the Super Bowl.
Or at least you don't even have to win the Super Bowl. You make consistent deep playoff runs.
That's not good enough. Look at the Ravens and the freaking Bills. No one wants to go to the AFC Championship and lose every year.
But look at the Niners, though. People talk about the Niners.
But the Niners at least go to the Super Bowl. They give themselves a chance to win the Super Bowl.
A deep playoff run includes the Super Bowl. You want to win it. You don't want to lose it, but that at least gets you clout.
Some people think the deep playoff run is going to the AFC Championship. That doesn't mean nothing.
It is, though, but that's
literally a deep run.
I don't know, man.
Especially from a wild card. That means you've at least won 2 games.
It does, but it doesn't mean it. It's meaningless.
If you all right, so a consistent deep playoff runs, which means let's use the Niners for example, or the Chiefs. The Chiefs,
I feel like a
like
deep,
the Chiefs.
consistent playoff run, you have to at least have won a Super Bowl, and then all those other playoff runs matter.
No, like I disagree with that. A deep playoff runs means you make it to the title game at least consistently. You make it to the title game on a frequent basis. Look at the Niners. The
That's
Niners
like,
haven't not made
but
it to the title game since
my bad.
2011. Every time they make the playoffs, they at least get to the title game. That's deep playoff runs. That means you have
But
a shot. You are one of the final four teams.
I don't know if you don't win the Super Bowl, then you don't really have a shot, in my opinion. Or
Have a shot
no,
at
I'm
what?
sorry. None of those don't really. It doesn't really matter. You got to
But
win in order for it to be validated.
but you have to make it to the Super Bowl. Making it to the Super Bowl is tough. It's
Yeah,
not
but I
just a
mean, like
given to
once you,
get to the Super Bowl.
it's not. But I mean, like think about the Rams, right? The Rams have won a Super Bowl, so now all the closer they get to it, the more it's validated because they have actually won
But they
before. But if
haven't
you
made it
never
past the
win it,
divisional round since. They haven't made it past the divisional round. They haven't been to an NFC title game since 2021.
yeah, but that's still within 5 years.
I mean, sure, they've won the title, they've won the Super Bowl, but if you're talking about the definition of a deep playoff run, I think AFC
Yeah,
title game is a deep playoff run. You could be the number one. The reason is because you could be the number one seed, or we used to be the number
yeah.
two seed, and get bounced in the divisional round, and you get a bye week in the wild card and get bounced in the divisional round, and you didn't win any games. So at
It
least
is a deep playoff run, but I don't think it matters. I
I
don't think
think
it
it does for
matters.
clout. I think when it talk about relevancy and getting
I
respect.
don't
Oh,
give
did
a
the Ravens
stock.
just score? Dang.
I don't give a
I
stock
mean,
like Josh Allen and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I don't give a stock that they have went to the AFC Championship game because the point is playing football is not to go to the AFC Championship game; it's to win
but
the
they've
Super
only been
Bowl.
there once, though, is the problem.
I think the
It's not.
Bills have been twice, right?
They lost
It-
last year, and when was the last time they
the
went to the AFC title game?
I think if I'm not, maybe I'm making this up, but I think the Bills went twice,
I'll
but
have
they
to look that up.
lost. They lost both times.
Sure.
The Texans have never
Those,
been so, but it doesn't matter. Getting
but
eliminated in
that's
the divisional round and the AFC Championship matters pretty much the same. It doesn't
the
matter. You
standard.
still got
This
eliminated. You go to the Super Bowl.
then why are the Ravens relevant then?
They're
Why are the
not
Bills
because they
relevant?
haven't been to the Super Bowl. That's
They're
why people
relevant.
call Joe Burrow better than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson because he actually went to a Super Bowl.
Well,
Unlike
that's
both,
because he also beat Patrick Mahomes to get there. That makes all the difference.
but that's the reason that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson haven't went because they could not beat Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know. I think we're trying to argue different things here. Everything could be
I
relevant.
believe so. I mean, I'm a
It's all
person.
relative.
I don't believe that it mattered. Like moral victories, I don't believe in. Making a deep playoff run is no better than getting eliminated in the wild card round, in my opinion.
Oh, I
Because you still
disagree with
didn't make
that.
it to the Super Bowl. You still didn't make it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but the deeper you go, the better teams you play. If you get bounced in the first round, you just weren't prepared. I think that means you just weren't prepared as a team. Like you didn't belong.
Cowboys. My bad. My bad.
The Cowboys are the perfect example. They every year they get even their best teams. They haven't made it to the NFC title game since 1997.
Yeah, you're right because they suck.
I
But
think
but it doesn't.
winning
It
a
doesn't
couple
matter.
games,
The Texans have won
they've never
like
made out the
wild
divisional
card
round.
games, but we haven't. We have been to the same amount of Super Bowls as the Cowboys in the last 30 years. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
That's I get what you're saying. I'm talking about relevancy, and this is what me and Alex were talking about. I was super irritated that the fact that the Texans had to play the 3:30 game, and you have the Ravens and the Packers playing the night game, and you have both starting quarterbacks are out. Now I
They
get
hate
that,
the Texans.
but the Texans don't have pedigree is the problem. You make a deep playoff run for a couple times. You win a Super Bowl, and I guarantee you that changes the narrative.
I don't
You
know.
get a Super
Maybe
Bowl and you're relevant. You
it
win a
did for the
couple Super Bowls.
Chiefs.
And let's say you don't win the Super Bowl this year, but you get to the AFC title game and maybe next year to win a Super Bowl, or the next couple of years you make it to the AFC title game because you start becoming that team that's like, oh, they're going to make a deep run and then you win a Super Bowl or two, then you become like the Packers getting the night game is a legacy pick.
You see what it's like to win a Super Bowl or to go to the Super Bowl and not win. It's just like the Bengals. We would be literally in the same category as the Bengals.
Yeah, but the
we go to
Niners
Super
get the
Bowl,
benefit of the doubt. They get those night games. They get the better games. You don't see the Niners playing 3:30 on Saturday.
You're talking about legacy, though. The Niners have won 4 Super Bowls, though.
5, but that was 30 years ago.
Bowls. Don't matter. They still won 5. The Texans have never won a Super Bowl. That's why we don't get. That's why we don't get pedigree.
You need pedigree. You at least need to get and you start that pedigree
by winning the Super Bowl.
You get pedigree by making deep playoff runs and winning the Super Bowl. Consistently winning a couple games at least.
Do you think that the Bengals have pedigree?
No.
They went to a Super Bowl, so that's my point. Winning is what gives you pedigree.
Consistently though, they went to 2 AFC title games and got bounced in the Super Bowl, and that was what 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's recent.
I mean, they're one of those teams. They've been super injured and they're always 500. You look at a team like they
are always
like the
500
Chiefs or the Ravens. The Ravens. This was a super down year for the Ravens. The Ravens are always in the playoff hunt. They always at least win a playoff game. Well, I take that back. But they're always
to my point, the Ravens had pedigree because they won that Super Bowl in 2013 with the same coach that they have now. That's why people give them pedigree. That's why people let Sean Payton. That's why they believe so heavy in the Broncos, because he's won a Super Bowl, and also because John Harbaugh has won a Super Bowl, and he's the same coach.
Yeah, bro, we've been going for 2 hours, but we got to wrap this up. It's been real. We
appreciate y'all for going on so long after I got here late, despite my trash internet.
It is all good, man. The Texans won. We're in the playoffs. Man, now it's, we're all Colts fans.
I feel like we should do more of these discussions of like the philosophy of football, because that's what I like.
That sounds good. We will do that. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We will see you all Monday night. Peace.